Hello, this is Rev Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida, and this is Rev Don's Vlog. And today I thought I would discuss the subject of free will. And there are a number of things we can talk about under this heading, including what is free will, do we really have free will, and do we always have free will? And again, these are several different permutations of the question, but I do intend to address them all. So, do I think we have free will? Yes, I do think we have free will. Um, but do we always have it? No, there are situations where we don't have total free will, and sometimes where we have no free will at all, because other things impinge on what we can do in the situation. Now, I would say that as magical people, much of that can be transcended, but I don't know that everything can be transcended, and certain things I think um, are simply meant to be in the situation. And that brings us to the question of what is free will and how does it work? I was always taught that we have a contract in life, that before we're born, we ask for and agree to certain things that will happen, which are for the purposes of our soul's growth. And that this is not something forced upon us, but something we enter into by choice. Which is not to say that there are not things that must happen at certain places that we might prefer to put in other places. But for the purposes of our soul, it's all there for our growth. And I was further taught that we reassess this contract constantly in life, literally in every moment. That we can say, no, this is not what I want, or I do not want this at this time, or can we change it? And as a magical person, we can do this. Sometimes it's easier than others. That's part of what shadow work is about. Removing those things that block our ability to change what is happening. And in theory, as magical people, if we are magical enough, most of those things we can bring under the ruling of our own free will, which is our ability to choose between different possibilities. Doesn't mean we can choose any possibility. For example, if I wanted to um, go up the street and buy a house right now, I could not do that because I do not have that money in cash in my pocket. And even if I did, I don't know that you could buy a house quite that quickly. There are all kinds of things around it that would mean that it would be subject to other considerations, at the very least, that it would take more time. So free will is limited in ways like that. Um, if I wanted to go out and run a marathon at my age and with my mobility issues, I really could not do that either, at least not in a particularly effective way. And that's another way that free will is limited. There are a number of limits on what we can choose to do, but I do believe that within what we can do, we have free will, and that as magical people, we can expand that considerably. I do tend to believe that if one were sufficiently in line with one's higher self, that maybe everything could be expanded in that way, but most of us are not. Um, Even when we are considerably well aligned with our higher self, but um, that goalpost of what is possible can certainly be moved through magical practices. I've done it many times in my life. I've seen other people do it. And most significantly, I've seen people do it who are not inherently magical people, not consciously magical people. I remember the lady who would win the lotto so frequently in small amounts that she could count it in her budget that at least once a week she was going to win at least $20. Happened every week. This was magic, but she was not consciously doing it. Knew another man who could destroy any situation within 24 hours. We used to joke that if only he would turn his powers to good, he would be quite something to be reckoned with. But he was on a self-destruct mission, and everything in his life would be destroyed as soon as it aligned in a good way. This too is magic, and is a prime case of why we need to have shadow work, because we do trip ourselves up in that way, but usually not to that extreme. So, speaking incarnationally, do we have free will? Well, yes, within these limitations, we do, and most of these limitations, if not all of them, can be overcome through spiritual practice. What is free will? Free will is the ability to make choices within a certain parameter. And again, that parameter can be expanded through magical usage. Um, is it infinite? Absolutely not. And when we talk about the contract with the soul, are there certain things that simply are meant to be that we cannot change? Well, yes and no. In my opinion, there are certain things that our soul must have for its own purposes that we cannot change necessarily. Um, but at a soul level, this again is by choice. And also, I do believe that if we are sufficiently well aligned, that yes, we could change it. It's all a matter of where we are and what our level of self-knowledge and skill is. I mentioned the man who can destroy any situation within 48 hours or 24 hours. Um, that certainly is something he could have changed. Even if his soul needed it for some reason, he could have changed it if he were practicing metaphysically. He did not practice metaphysics. Um, I've also seen people who do practice metaphysics do some amazing things. And I feel I've done some amazing things myself at different points in my life that I don't normally talk about. And it's been suggested to me I should talk about that sort of more personal thing more often. So maybe in future vlogs I will. So do I feel that we have free will? Yes, I do. Do I feel that it is without limit? Only for the most skilled. Do I um, feel that there is nothing we cannot change? No, I don't. I do think there are things that are difficult to change and perhaps impossible for most, but I don't think anything is existentially impossible. So those are my thoughts on free will, and I hope you find them interesting. And if you like the vlog, please hit like, share, and subscribe according to the platform you're watching on. And I want to take a moment and talk about the time of the vlog. I've been doing the vlog as a live broadcast, which is an interesting experience, very different from what I did for the 10 years previous. And I've been doing it at 1 o'clock Eastern, and I'm thinking of moving it to a later time. I'm thinking maybe 3 o'clock Eastern. That would be a little easier for me, but I would like to know what people who are watching the vlog would prefer. Is there a time that would be better for you than another time? I don't guarantee I could choose that time, but let me know what it is and I'll see what I can do. I had originally intended today to talk about the third degree proof copy. It is supposed to arrive today. It hasn't arrived yet. But this is probably going to be the subject of the next vlog, and I will share that with you. I'm enjoying doing vlogs again. I hope you're enjoying watching them. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments section. If you have any subjects you'd like me to cover that perhaps are not actually questions, but simply topics, I will see if I can't cover them. And I want to thank you for watching. And I'm still getting used to this platform. So I want to thank the person who just gave a tip, but I'm not quite sure where to look to see who that person is. Oh, it was Michael. Thank you, Michael. Um, and Michael also has a comment that free will seems to me that a lot of people misunderstand. And yes, I would have to agree. It's widely misunderstood. Um, as I say, I have understood it in these terms. Not everyone does. I think free will is one of those things that for some people is something that they put a lot of stock in but very little thought in. And I think that unfortunately is true for a lot of subjects for a lot of people. And in addition to everything we've talked about, because this brings up another subject, in addition to the physical limitations of free will, which again I believe in many cases we can address through magic, there are also the moral limitations. And those are by choice. I always feel that it's better to choose, we'll say, the good karma path as opposed to doing more negative things, because I feel that what you do comes back to you, and that the energy you surround yourself with is the energy you're going to have. So I try to do good things and have good energy. That's not really about free will in the existential sense, but in the personal what do I choose to do sense. And certainly people have the free will to be constructive or destructive. But when you are destructive, well, there's an old saying, you shouldn't mess in your own nest. And that's usually what it comes down to. And when people choose to do more destructive things, I think you tend to see a lot more mess around them. So anyway, these are my thoughts on free will. I hope you find them helpful. And until next time, may you blessed be.